When I bought my house, I thought it was the start of a dream. It was a quiet suburban neighborhood, manicured lawns, and rows of homes that looked almost identical. The kind of place you imagine raising a family in peace. But peace was the last thing I got. From the very first week, my next-door neighbor, let's call her Karen, made sure I knew she didn't approve of me. She was the self-proclaimed queen of the HOA, walking around with her clipboard, nitpicking every detail. My grass was too long, my mailbox was too old, and even the color of my curtains wasn't community-friendly. I laughed it off at first, thinking she'd eventually get bored. But I quickly learned that when an HOA Karen sets her sights on you, life can turn into a nightmare. Every letter in my mailbox felt like an attack, every knock on my door a new complaint. And while I tried to stay calm, deep down, I could feel a storm building. One I never imagined would end with fire. The escalation. The complaints turned into fines, and the fines turned into threats. Karen had the HOA backing her up, and she made sure I felt trapped. If my trash can was visible for more than 5 minutes after pickup, I got a fine. If my car was parked slightly off-center in the driveway, another fine. I started documenting everything, snapping photos and keeping records, because I knew it was more than petty rules. This was harassment. One night, after another long day at work, I came home to find a notice taped to my door. Non-compliance will not be tolerated. Remove your shed or face legal action. That shed was something I had built with my dad before he passed away. It wasn't just wood and nails. It was memory, legacy, and love. The thought of tearing it down broke me. I refused. That's when Karen's anger shifted from paperwork to something much darker. I started hearing strange noises outside at night, footsteps near my window, and one morning, I found a dead plant dumped on my porch. It felt like a warning, but I still didn't realize just how far she was willing to go. The fire. It was a Tuesday night I'll never forget. I had just gone to bed when the smell of smoke jolted me awake. At first, I thought maybe I left a candle burning, but when I opened my bedroom door, thick black smoke rolled in. Panic surged through me as I ran for the front door, coughing and stumbling through the haze. The house I worked so hard for, the place I had called home, was engulfed in flames. By the time the fire department arrived, everything was gone. Standing in the street barefoot, watching my life turn to ash, I felt hollow. But as the firefighters worked, one of them quietly pulled me aside. "We found traces of accelerant near your porch," he said. My heart sank. This wasn't an accident. Someone had set my house on fire. And in that moment, I knew exactly who it was. Karen's constant threats, her rage over the shed, the way she seemed obsessed with controlling everything. I had no doubt in my mind. The police opened an investigation, but what came next shocked me even more. The courtroom. A week later, I walked into the courthouse, nerves twisting my stomach. I was there to give a statement, to push for charges against whoever burned my home down. My attorney had prepared me, telling me to stay calm, stick to the facts, and let the evidence speak for itself. But when the doors opened, and the accused was escorted in, my blood ran cold. It was Karen. The same woman who used to wave her HOA clipboard in my face now stood in handcuffs, her smugness replaced with a blank, pale expression. The evidence was overwhelming. Security camera footage from a neighbor's house caught her sneaking onto my property the night of the fire, carrying what looked like a gas can. My attorney whispered, "This is open and shut." But sitting there, staring at her across the courtroom, I couldn't believe how far this petty war had gone. This wasn't just about fines or rules anymore. This was about control, obsession, and destruction. And now, finally, she had to face the consequences. Justice served. The trial didn't take long. With the footage, the accelerant tests, and my own testimony, the jury had no sympathy for her. Karen tried to argue that she was protecting the neighborhood, but no one bought it. She was sentenced to years behind bars. Her reign of terror over the HOA finally cut short. As for me, I was left to pick up the pieces of my life from the ashes. It wasn't easy. Insurance covered some, but not all. I lost heirlooms, photos, and the shed my dad and I built together. But I also gained something: closure. Karen no longer had power over me. My story wasn't about a house anymore. It was about survival, resilience, and standing up against someone who thought they could control everything. And now, every time I drive by that neighborhood, I don't feel anger or sadness. I feel freedom, because while Karen burned my house to the ground, she couldn't destroy me. Life after the trial felt strange at first. For months, I was haunted by the smell of smoke, the sound of sirens, and the image of my home reduced to ashes. But slowly, things began to change. My community, the same neighborhood that once felt like a battlefield, rallied around me in ways I never expected. Neighbors I barely knew showed up with meals, offered to help rebuild, and some even stood up in HOA meetings to demand reforms. For the first time, the HOA was no longer Karen's kingdom. It became a real community again. With their support, I started fresh. I bought a new home, not far away, and this time I didn't feel like I was living under a microscope. Every nail I hammered, every wall I painted, felt like reclaiming control over my life. Karen may have tried to destroy me, but in the end, she gave me something unexpected. A reminder that people can come together when it matters most. My house was gone, yes, but my spirit, my future, and my freedom were stronger than ever. And as I locked the door of my new home for the first time, I whispered to myself, this time, nobody can take it away. This was just one of many wild neighborhood stories. If you enjoyed it, make sure to hit subscribe and turn on the bell, because here at QZ Stories, we bring you the craziest tales of revenge, justice, and neighborhood drama every week. Don't miss the next one.